Hi, Sarah Normalists. Welcome back. Now, before I get into my next story, I just want to tell you a few things, learning things that I've learned. And growing up as a child, I know my mom loved me. It was just a little bit different than my brother. It wasn't okay with me as a child growing up, but it's okay with me now because that's how it is sometimes, right? You learn and move on. But later on in life, I really did have a conversation with my mom about my childhood. And I told her how I felt growing up, how I felt unloved by her, my dad, and my grandma. And she felt bad about it. But I was telling her that I wasn't telling her this to make her feel bad. I was just telling her how I felt growing up and why I acted out the way I did towards her, my brother, and my grandma. And that I was sorry for all of those things that I did to make her sad and cry, to make her mad and angry, to make her stressed out. I truly told her that I was sorry for all of that stuff. And I know she appreciated it. I just wanted her to know that she didn't need to feel guilty about anything that happened to me when I was a kid. And that I really appreciated her for everything that she did, and she did the best that she could with what she had and what she was dealt with in life. So my one piece of advice for everybody, now that my mom is 700 miles away and I wish I was with her closer, tell your mom you appreciate her. Tell your mom you love her. Tell your mom before it's too late, because she sacrificed a lot to have you. She sacrificed a lot in her life to make your life better than hers. So please appreciate and love your mom. Now, growing up in this neighborhood, I forgot to tell you guys, before my 6th grade friend moved in, I did have a few friends in the neighborhood. One lived across the street from me, but she was a couple years younger than me, so she wasn't in the same grade as me. One other girl moved into the neighborhood before my 6th grade friend, and she lived across the street too. She had really bad acne as a child, but growing up. But we were really close, all three of us, I thought. And there were boys in the neighborhood, obviously, that, would come around, hang out at my house, play basketball, whatever. Or go out around the neighborhood and play basketball at everybody's house. But they kind of really went out of their way to make my life miserable in this neighborhood. So I really was getting it from all sides. I tried not to let them know that it bothered me, because I didn't want them to, go at me harder than what they already were. It was already bad enough. So this is me at about 11 or 12. So it'd be about 1985, 1986. This is a shirt that my mom had in her closet. So yeah, I was shopping in my mom's closet as a child. But anyways, this is the picture when I was in the neighborhood with my two friends. So they really went out of their way to make my life miserable, but I tried not to let it show. If I could give myself one piece of advice, this is what I would tell my younger self. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself, but don't start the fight. Right? Don't start the fight, but don't be worried to stand up for yourself. I didn't stand up for myself because I didn't have the guts to do it. Plus, I thought if I stood up for myself, and fought back, I thought I would get in trouble for it. So please, 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 if you're having bullying problems, either tell somebody. If you don't want to tell anybody, please stand up for yourself. Please. Fight back if you have to. Don't start the fight, but fight back, right? Stand up for yourself, fight back. I would tell myself, look, don't be afraid to kick some F and A, right? That's what I would tell myself now, sitting here with you. So let's get into high school, right? This is me, about 16. Yeah, that was the hair, right? So at 16, well, before 16, you know, you're a teenager, you're trying to fit in with friends. Like I said, all my friends, all of my friends in school, I only had like maybe one or two, but all of my friends were outside of school. So I really hung out with a lot of older people. Probably wasn't the greatest idea, but I did. In our town, next to our city, there was a smaller town. It was more rural. Our city was more urban. The city was more rural. It had like farms and the houses were more spread apart. So I'm trying to paint the picture for you, right? We had a local legend called Gore Orphanage in the neighboring city. You can look it up on Google. There are, but just be warned, there are some sites that tell you the fake version, but there are some sites out there that tell you the real story of Gore Orphanage. And this is the legend of Gore Orphanage. The legend was that there was an orphanage down in this city, out in the rural, country, side. And one day there was a fire in the orphanage and all the children couldn't get out and they all perished and died. Now, that wasn't true. There was an orphanage. It just didn't burn down with all the kids in it. Okay. Now there was ruins down in this, where this Gore Orphanage was. But it was an old abandoned mansion that was there. So everybody kind of mistook it for this orphanage, right? Now I'm painting the picture in this rural area. You have your regular city streets in the country, but houses are really spaced far apart, right? But once you get down where the spot was, Gore Orphanage, it was really in like a valley, where once you got down in there, it was really dark, and you were out in the middle of nowhere, like quite literally. If you were left behind, you would have to walk out. And it would take you a while just to walk out just to get to the nearest house. This is how far it was, away. It took us at least 20, 30 minutes to get there. And we were going out there a lot. I'm not proud of this. I would get into bars when I was 16. Like this picture here, I was getting into bars. Don't do that. It was not a great idea either. But I would, hang out with my friends and we would do creepy stuff, like go down to Gore Orphanage and drink. But this was more when I was 18, closer to 18. But we'd go down to Gore Orphanage a lot. Now there was 2 spots at Gore Orphanage. There was one lower spot with a small bridge where the ruins of the mansion was, and then there was down the road a little bit, there was a dirt road that led to a higher bridge. But the bridge was blocked off because there was no floor to the bridge. You couldn't walk across it. You couldn't drive across it. And on the other side of the bridge were houses. Now, there was another legend down near Gore Orphanage about a cemetery that had an angel statue that moved. I swear it's there. I think it was Mason Cemetery, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure yet, but let's get back to that. So we would go down to both spots at Gore Orphanage. The lower spot, we would go down there and drink and get high, like kids do. And we would go exploring in the woods to try to find this orphanage, right? It was creepy, I'm not gonna lie. It's pitch black, it's in the country, there's no lights around. You know, houses, like I said, you know what I mean? You're walking through woods, thick, really pretty thick woods. So we're, you know, exploring the area. We go down there a lot. Every weekend, I think we were down there. Now, the other spot of this Gore Orphanage, where the higher bridge was, there was a river that went down there. But there was a lot of field and, you know what I mean, and land underneath the bridge before you got to the river. And one day I was down there with some friends, and we were hanging out at the bridge without the floor. And we're all drunk down there drinking, and my one friend has got this great idea of, oh, the beams that hold up the bridge, right? He had this bright idea while he was drinking to run up the side of the railing, right, that went up and over the top of the bridge. Pitch black. And I'm like, dude, this is not a great idea. Please don't do this, because you're going to fall, you're going to die, and then I don't know what the hell we're going to tell you if that happened to you, right? So he runs up, and it literally went up and over where the cars would drive through if there was a floor. He ran all the way down to the other end, and it's so dark that you cannot see where he went. So we're like, oh man, he fell. You know, are you okay? We're like yelling at him, and he's not saying anything. Hey, where are you? You okay? You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, out of the darkness, he runs back up the other side and back down. And we're like, dude, don't do that. You know what I mean? He had a car that was a manual shift, and what he would do was, when we would get ready to leave, he would act like it wouldn't start. You know what I mean? Put, 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 put. Oh, it's not gonna start. It's not gonna start. So it was on a little. This bridge went up a little hill, right? So as you're parked on the hill, what he would do is he would let the car roll down the hill and pop the clutch. So he's acting like, you know what I mean, you're not going anywhere, it's not going to start, and all of a sudden he pops the clutch, and then up the hill we go. So that was one time of being down there. Now let me tell you this, we knew, other than Gore Orphanage, that it was known that there were satanic rituals being held down there by a group of people. So that was scary on its own, besides the Gore Orphanage, besides it being in the middle of nowhere and it being pitch black and you're not wanting to get left behind, okay? I was down there with another different set of friends one night, and I don't even remember who I was with now at the time, but the one person out of our group, there was probably at least 10 or 12 of us, I remember. There was quite a few. And this guy is like, oh man, do you guys know there's an abandoned house down here underneath the bridge? And I'm like, we're like, what now? And he's like, yeah, man, let's go hang out down there. So, you know, we're out down there drinking it high again. And we're walking down this path that goes underneath this bridge. And it's pretty far back there. Like, we've been walking for a while, and we're still haven't reached this house. And we're like, dude, where in the hell is this house at? Like, he's like, oh, it's just up a little farther. It's just up a little farther. But he takes off, like, you know what I mean, running. And we're like, dude, where the hell are you going? How did I get back here? We're yelling. You know what I mean? He ran off in the distance. You can't see him anymore. You can't hear anything. So what he did, he circled around to the back of us so he can scare the crap out of us. And it worked, you know, so eventually we keep walking, and then you see this big white facade that comes slowly creeping up, right? And it's the house. It was creepy. It was abandoned. There was nobody there, but they had furniture still in it. Like, you walk up through the porch, the covered porch, and then the front room, living room. It was pretty long, and it had a fireplace at one end, but it had couches, and it had a bed in there. And like I said, at the time, I was not that adventurous in the paranormal field, let's just say. So I'm, you know, out there drinking, having fun with my friends, and I'm thinking I'm not doing anything but just sitting here on this bed, and I'm not moving because it's creepy AF in here. And, you know what I mean? I'm thinking I don't want to go somewhere and be left behind, right? Because that's the last thing you want being down here. And everybody, all the guys were like, oh man, let's go explore this house, man. And I'm like, it's not a great idea, dude. I've watched a lot of horror movies by that time. I'm a horror movie fanatic. I watched a lot of horror movies, right, growing up as a kid. My first drive-in movie was Cujo when I was a child. That was my parents taking me to see Cujo when it came out. But anyways, you know, I saw a lot of horror movies in my time before this happened. I'm like, you know what, dude, that's not a great idea because anything could be down there, right? You could fall, get hurt, something happen to you, you know what I mean? Like Michael Myers or Leatherface could be hiding down there somewhere and come popping out. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's not a great idea. Like, no. And they're like exploring this house. Oh, there's a basement. And I'm like, oh, hell no, I am not going in no basement. Mm-mm. No, and I sat there the rest of the night until everybody was ready to leave and we left. Years later, after I met my husband, I told him about going down there. He knew about the story too, but they never went down there. So we went down there after all of this, right? After I met my husband. I'm like, man, I wonder what it looks like now, because it was years and years. It was at least 10 years, you know what I mean, before we went back, just to see what it looked like. And we went back down to where the high bridge was, you know what I mean, where this abandoned house was. And I be damned. They didn't not only fix the bridge, but there were new houses built down there. I'm looking around, well, what the hell is wrong with these people? Do they know what is down here? Seriously, like, no. There were satanic rituals being held down there, people, and you want to build a fancy-ass house down here? What is wrong with you? No. So, that was another, like, yeah, I was doing creepy stuff as a child, or as growing up. Like, I don't know why I was drawn to this stupid stuff, seriously. But I'm almost hitting 20 minutes, so I'm gonna cut it off right here. I'm gonna tell you my next high school story, but that's when my mom had to move from the house to the apartment. Stay tuned for the next one. Love y'all.